Part 69. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 681. Chapter 681 Is Su Ji a bad person? When Yu Lingfeng came to the ward, Xia Ying was sitting on the edge of the hospital bed, chatting with Jun Chenai. Jun Chenai's interest was quite high and he seemed to be having a great time chatting with Xia Ying. Yu Lingfeng. Xia Ying saw Yu Lingfeng coming and called him. I'll take you back. Yu Lingfeng said to Xia Ying, there is nothing serious about Jun Chenai at the moment. Your military training has not been completed yet. It will be difficult for the school to handle it if you keep asking for leave. Okay. Xia Ying stood up, said goodbye to Jun Chenai and the others, and followed Yu Lingfeng out. What did wrong I tell you? Xia Ying looked at Yu Lingfeng's carefully carved profile curiously and asked. Nothing special, I just want me to help Jun Chenai. Ronkai, does he know something? Xia Ying asked with a frown. He does know something. Then, does he have any suspicion, for example, your true identity? Xia Ying asked cautiously. His imagination is not that big yet, he probably just thinks that I am some kind of genetically mutated superhuman. Yu Lingfeng said jokingly. That's not bad. Xia Ying raised her head and said. At this time, Yu Lingfeng's cell phone rang. It was 11 Ju's call. Master, I have found the girl you asked me to check and have sent it to your email. Good. Yu Lingfeng hung up the phone, then opened his mailbox and checked the information sent by 11 Ju. Suji, 20 years old, Chinese nationality M, both parents are doctors. A student from the Imperial University of Country M, came to China as an exchange student for 1 year. Others are very basic and ordinary resumes. According to the information, Suji is just a very ordinary girl. The only thing that is different from other girls is probably that, as mentioned above, she has practiced Taekwondo. Black belt master. It's just that, with just Taekwondo, it's impossible for such a powerful move to disappear under Yu Lingfeng's nose. Yu Lingfeng felt that this girl named Suji must be something special. Xia Ying was also watching. Yu Lingfeng, do you suspect that Suji is that kind of shadow hunter? That's what I thought before. Yu Lingfeng nodded, then looked at Xia Ying and said, but looking at the current situation, it seems that she is not. However, I always feel that this person is not simple. Because my bracelet doesn't ring. Xia Ying added. Right. Yu Lingfeng said, and his eyes fell on Xia Ying's bracelet again. Yu Lingfeng stretched out his index finger and tapped the bell of Xia Ying's goo insect bracelet. Come out. Yu Lingfeng's tone was indifferent, without any warmth. The little goo insects leaned out weakly and stared at Yu Lingfeng. Is Suji a bad person? The little bugs were stunned when Yu Lingfeng asked. The little bugs looked at each other and didn't make any move. Xia Ying chuckled. Yu Lingfeng, can they see it? Just trying it? Yu Lingfeng said lightly. After all, Yu Lingfeng himself didn't know what special abilities Xia Ying's group of little goo insects had. Well, if Suji is really a bad person and wants to do something to me, they will definitely notice it, and even if there is just the slightest tendency, they will notice it. Since I have been with Suji for so long, they have never. Yes, that means Suji is not a bad person. At least, she won't do anything to me. Xia Ying continued, besides, the person who followed us that day may not have been Suji, it could have been someone else. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 682. Chapter 682 Do you really want me to find a word to describe you? Xia Ying's words may have come from someone else, but it made Yu Lingfeng think of one person. Suemo. Suemo is also a person with a high martial arts value. Yu Lingfeng had already seen that when he met the low-level shadow hunter last time. When asked where he learned kung fu, Su Emo smiled and said it was a secret. Yu Lingfeng didn't ask further at that time, so it's possible that the person that day was actually Su Emo and not Suji. Yu Lingfeng really wants to know how powerful Su Emo is. After sending Xia Ying back, Yu Lingfeng contacted Chu Shenxiu. Chu Shenxiu was happily playing games at the time and was very unhappy that Yu Lingfeng interrupted his progress. What's the matter? What's the matter? If it's not something important, don't talk about it. I'll be number 1 on the daily list soon. Chu Shenxiu's speaking speed increased to 3 times the normal speed, and he kept staring at the computer screen intently. Go out to play fencing on the weekend. As soon as Yu Lingfeng finished speaking, Chu Shenxiu happened to win the game, so he picked up the phone and started chatting with him. What? Fencing? Do you know what kind of person you are inviting? Chu Shenxiu said proudly, with a deep arc at the corner of his mouth. You really want me to find a word to describe you? Yu Lingfeng's words completely made Chu Shenxiu's face fall. Does this guy know how to chat? Is this disdainful attitude the appropriate tone to adopt when asking someone out to play? Chu Shenxiu knew without even thinking that Yu Lingfeng would not be able to say anything good. Okay, just the 2 of us? Invite Su Emo out too. Su Emo? Chu Shenxiu frowned, he doesn't know how to fencing. Can't he learn it? After Yu Lingfeng finished speaking, he added, neither can I. Chu Shenxiu's face turned cold, you're going to ask me out to play ball. Watch the video, it's not difficult. Damn, you just want to find a professional like me to play with? Chu Shenxiu expressed that he wanted to break off relations with Yu Lingfeng. It's best not to say such professional words, so as not to be slapped down by him and Sumo's business and quick. Chu Shenxiu. Yu Lingfeng then heard a hang-up sound coming from the other end of the phone. The days of military training passed quickly, and formal classes were about to begin. After receiving the book, Ye Xiaoxun immediately started his own path to academic dominance. Tang Guo'er looked at Ye Xiaoxun in surprise, oh my god, Xiaoxun, we haven't even started class yet, and you've already previewed so much. Ye Xiaoxun looked up and smiled sheepishly, anyway, I'm bored. Tang Guo'er was excited. She was so stimulated by Ye Xiaoxun that she quickly put down the iPad in her hand, jumped up from her seat, and ran to the side to study with Ye Xiaoxun. No, I have to start studying too. I am a person who is determined to go to Ling Ling Chi Drug Research Institute in the imperial capital in the future. Ling Ling Chi Pharmaceutical Research Institute. Ye Xiaoxun was startled after hearing this, and said with emotion, wow, it is said that the most powerful drug researchers in China gather here. Yeah, that's my goal. Tang Guo'er clenched his fists and said with determination on his face. Xia Ying listened on the sidelines and said silently, isn't that the research institute where my 12th cousin is? Tang Guo'er's face turned red after hearing this, and then she pretended not to know and looked at Xia Ying, really? Then, that's such a coincidence. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 683. Chapter 683. It's better to look at the road when walking. Xia Ying half squinted her eyes, her sharp eyes seeming to see through Tang Guo'er. Tang Guo'er started to feel guilty inexplicably as Xia Ying stared at her, avoiding Xia Ying's sight. But Tang Guo'er's little movements and expressions couldn't escape Xia Ying's sight. Little Candy, why did you give up your entertainment to study for the sake of my 12th cousin? You will work with my 12th cousin at the Ling Ling Chi Drug Research Institute in the future. No, I don't. Tang Guo'er's face turned red from suppressing her emotions, and she started to stutter in excitement. He didn't dare to look directly into Xia Ying's probing eyes, and lowered his head not to look at her. Ha, it's okay to admit it, I won't laugh at you or anything. Xia Ying said with a smile. I didn't, I went to the library to study. Tang Guo'er said, with a blushing face. He picked up his school bag and ran out. Tang Guo'er's embarrassed look looked very cute in Xia Ying's eyes. Tang Guo'er was carrying her school bag and lowering her head. She was thinking about Xia Ying's teasing just now. Her face turned red with embarrassment, like a crystal peach. She didn't expect Xia Ying to guess it so quickly. Yes, she studied pharmaceutical engineering on purpose. She also wants to study hard and work with Chu Shengming if she has the opportunity in the future. Tang Guo'er didn't know if she was in a daze or something. In short, the name Chu Shengming was filling her heart now. When she had some free time, Tang Guo'er couldn't help but think of him. Because I have never learned about pharmaceutical engineering before, it is quite difficult to learn. But when she thought of Chu Shengming, Tang Guo'er's laziness disappeared, and her fighting spirit was quickly aroused. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Tang Guo'er was walking on the road with her head buried, looking absent-minded all the way. In addition, she was thinking wildly and didn't look at the road, so she accidentally bumped into the person in front of her. Tang Guo'er was hunched over, nodding his head down and down, apologizing non-stop, without raising his head to see who was coming. Suddenly, Tang Guo'er's forehead was supported by a broad palm, and then, the palm forcefully straightened Tang Guo'er's bent body. Tang Guo'er's pupils dilated instantly when she met the person's gaze. How could it be such a coincidence? She had been thinking about Chu Shengming just now, but Chu Shengming suddenly appeared. Chu Shengming was wearing a clean and neat white shirt, buttoned to the last button. A section of the slender and fair neck is exposed, and further up, there is a soft chin, indifferent yet seductive thin lips, a high nose, and a pair of deep eyes that make people fall in love with her at one glance and cannot extricate themselves. Chu Shengming. Tang Guo'er was so excited that her tongue began to tangle, and she stared at Chu Shengming with a pair of grape-like eyes. Chu Shengming is 1.88 meters tall, but Tang Guo'er is only 1.58 meters petite, so standing next to Chu Shengming is quite a bit taller than Tang Guo'er. When Tang Guo'er looked up at Chu Shengming, she also raised her head desperately. Chu Shengming's gaze on Tang Guo'er's face did not waver, and he said calmly, when walking, it is better to look at the road. Okay, I'll pay attention next time. Tang Guo'er was a little embarrassed. She was not like this every time. It just happened that this time, she was caught red-handed by Chu Shengming. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 684. Chapter 684, The traces of accosting are too obvious. After Chu Shengming finished speaking, he took a step to the side and walked forward, passing by Tang Guo'er. Tang Guo'er could clearly smell the fresh and elegant fragrance of Chu Shengming's body. Tang Guo'er's heartbeat began to accelerate uncontrollably, and the temperature on her face also rose rapidly. That, Chu Shengming. Chu Shengming had already walked a few steps away. When he heard Tang Guo'er calling him, he turned around again and looked at Tang Guo'er. Is there anything else? Are you looking for Xia Ying? Well, I can help you call her out. Tang Guo'er regretted it completely after saying this. Oh my god, is there something wrong with her brain? Since Chu Shengming came here to see Xia Ying, he must have made an appointment in advance. He still needs her name. It's not like Xia Ying can't walk. Her words were so suggestive that she couldn't even listen to them. Chu Shengming was silent for a second. Tang Guo'er's heart was already in a state of chaos. Oh no, Chu Shengming must have thought she was stupid and wanted to eat swan meat. Well, that's a problem for you. Unexpectedly, Chu Shengming said this unexpectedly. Tang Guo'er suddenly met Chu Shengming's gaze, with a warm smile on Chu Shengming's face. That touching smile dazzled Tang Guo'er, and for a moment, she almost forgot to answer. Ah, it's no trouble, I'll call you right away. Tanguo said, carrying his school bag and running away again. Chu Shenming simply sat on the stone bench nearby, silently looking at the scenery in front of him, waiting for Xia Ying to come over. Not long after, Tanguo and Xia Ying rushed to where Chu Shenming was. Tanguo only left for a while, and Chu Shenming attracted all the girls over like a magnetic field. The girls all stood aside, either pretending to have glanced at him accidentally, or peeping, or they were seriously nymphomaniacs, and the brave ones even ran over to ask Chu Shenming for his contact information. Chu Shenming silently refused. Chu Shenming really has a unique charm. Although he has a very similar face, he is different from Chu Shenxiu, a person who knows how to manage his own beauty. Chu Shenming rarely makes facial expressions like electric discharge and other facial expressions that can make girls want to stop. Even when he smiled, his eyebrows were curved and the corners of his mouth were slightly raised, which was regarded as a smile. Most of the time, Chu Shenming had no facial expressions, but this indifferent expression was extremely charming. He has an aura about him that is hard to look away from. Chu Shenming saw Xia Ying coming, so he stood up and walked towards her. Then, I'll leave first. Tanguo whispered, then buried his head and walked away. Chu Shenming glanced at Tanguo's leaving figure and said to Xia Ying, actually, it's nothing important. There is a research project in the institute, which is in cooperation with Country M. I sent a few people there. I'm here among them. It will take about 2 months. It's very urgent. I don't have time to say goodbye to my uncle and aunt, so I came here to say something to you. Chu Shenming's research institute is very close to Imperial University, only a bus stop away, so Chu Shenming came over to talk to Xia Ying. Okay, then take care of your health and don't skip meals or sleep just because you're doing research. Xia Ying warned. Chu Shenming nodded, looked down at his watch, then I'll leave first. Good. Xia Ying nodded. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 685. Chapter 685. She is getting closer to Chu Shenming. Chu Shenming turned around and left. Xia Ying stood there and watched for a while before preparing to leave. Just as Xia Ying was about to turn around, she saw Tanguo hiding behind a big tree. Xia Ying didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and called out, "Little Candy, come out, I see you." Tanguo silently walked out from behind the big tree, blinked at Xia Ying with her big eyes, and ran towards her. I was just there to enjoy the scenery, I didn't eavesdrop on your conversation." Xia Ying coughed twice, ahem, cough, cough, I believe. That's strange. Tanguo nodded without thinking deeply about whether Xia Ying said she believed it was true or just a lie. Then, do you want to know what my 12th cousin said to me? Xia Ying was walking and chatting with Tanguo. Tanguo moved her lips and felt entangled in her heart. Of course she wanted to know, but would it be bad to say it directly and indirectly expose her behavior just now? It seems you don't want to know. Xia Ying deliberately teased her. Ha ha ha. Xia Ying looked at Tanguo's aggrieved look and couldn't help but laugh. I'm just teasing you. Xia Ying, you are so bad. Tanguo's face was flushed, her little hands were clenched into fists, and she said coquettishly. My 12th cousin is going to Country M for research, and he won't be back for about 2 months. Tanguo frowned, 2 months. In other words, she wouldn't be able to see Chu Shenming for 2 months. Because Chu Shenming's research institute is very close to Imperial University, Tanguo usually takes a car there when classes are over and hides far away. Sometimes, you can still see Chu Shenming returning home. Although it sounds a bit like a wretched stalker, but every time Tanguo gets dizzy after reading professional books and can't hold on any longer, he takes a look at Chu Shenming, and his fighting spirit is immediately aroused. The kind that can continue to do a few more sets of questions at school is more effective than drinking chicken blood and drinking chicken soup. Tanguo chatted with Xia Ying for a few more words, then walked toward the library with her schoolbag on her back. She wants to study hard and get closer to Chu Shengming. One afternoon without classes, Xia Ying received an invitation from Mu Niankai, saying that she wanted to go out for afternoon tea with her. Mu Niankai sat opposite Xia Ying, holding the drink in front of her with both hands, biting her lower lip, lowered her head, her eyes were a little distracted, and she looked like she was hesitant to speak. Xia Ying naturally saw some clues. Xia Ying said nothing and just drank the milk tea in front of her silently. Looking at Mu Niankai from time to time, Xia Ying wanted to know how long Mu Niankai planned to hold back before speaking. That, is. Mu Niankai finally couldn't help it and spoke hesitantly. What she said were just fragments and fragmented. However, Xia Ying guessed what Mu Niankai wanted to say. During this period, reports on Jun Chenai's face-to-face encounters on the internet have not stopped. Some media even took the risk and wanted to film and report on Jun Chenai's current hospital. Of course, they were expelled by the Jun family. So there are currently a lot of speculations about Jun Chenai on the internet, and Jun Chenai's fans are also panicked by the speculations from various media. Of course, the mainstream theory is that Jun Chenai was seriously injured, with extensive wounds all over his body, and his face was also disfigured. Popular media predicts that Jun Chenai is likely to permanently quit the entertainment industry after this incident. Also, writing. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 686. Chapter 686. Isn't that your contract boyfriend? Although Mu Niankai has let go for a long time, no matter what, it is still Jun Chenai, the boy she has been obsessed with for so long. At present, Mu Niankai knows nothing about him and can only speculate on Jun Chenai's situation through the analysis of some gossip media. Mu Niankai thinks that Jun Chenai has a better relationship with Xia Ying than with her, so maybe Xia Ying knew what she didn't know. So, Mu Niankai specially asks Xia Ying out to ask her about Jun Chenai. You want to ask about Jun Chenai? Xia Ying slowly raised her eyelids, looked at Mu Niankai and said, Mu Niankai nodded firmly and stared at Xia Ying. Actually, it's just like what's been said outside. Xia Ying sighed slightly, and then said, the situation is not optimistic. Jun Chenai was indeed seriously injured and disfigured. Moreover, the most incredible thing is that, he lost his memory. Mu Niankai was not surprised when she heard what she said before, but when Xia Ying mentioned that Jun Chenai was disfigured. Mu Niankai's pupils dilated instantly, she opened her lips in disbelief, and it took her a long time to speak. He has lost his memory. Yes, Xia Ying nodded, and then said, he doesn't remember anything. His family, friends, everything that happened to him before, including who he is, he has forgotten. Mu Niankai felt a throbbing pain in her heart. Jun Chenai, the super idol who once stood above thousands of people and looked down upon everything, fell into the clouds overnight and reached this stage. Accident, injured by bombing, disfigurement, amnesia, this series of daunting words were a fatal blow to him. In the past, Jun Chenai was admired by thousands of people and the object of all the spotlight. But who would have thought that his flowering period would be so short-lived? Can I go and see him? Mu Niankai hurriedly added, the next time you go to see him, take me with you, okay? Xia Ying nodded gently. Mu Niankai lowered her eyes, feeling sad. At this time, the originally quiet coffee shop suddenly started to become noisy. The girls at the table sitting behind Mu Niankai were chattering about something. Although the sound was not loud, Muniankai was close enough to hear it clearly. Wow, look, is that Hanzija? It's true, wow, Hanzija is really handsome. Watching him play football some time ago made a girl's heart burst with excitement. Isn't that Murong Shue from the Art Academy? Is she and Hanzija together? I don't know, weren't there rumors about their affair some time ago? Well, to be honest, Murong Shue's character, bad temper, is not worthy of Hanzija at all. Maybe people like her for something else. Muniankai was still feeling sad about Jun Chennai, but the chatter of the two girls next to her made her feel unhappy. What is there to discuss about Hanzija, a scumbag? Don't people often change girlfriends like they change clothes? Is there anything I don't understand, or whether it's worthy or not? Anyway, he'll get another one in a few days. Muniankai thought so and glanced in Hanzija's direction angrily. The girl sitting opposite Hanzija has long hair that falls over her shoulders. She is not a stunning beauty, but she is quite good looking. Her fair and jade-like skin is a bonus, and she has slight dimples when she smiles. Xia Ying looked at Muniankai, raised the corners of her mouth slightly, and joked, "Hey, isn't that your contract boyfriend Hanzija?" End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 687. Chapter 687. Didn't your kindergarten teacher teach you how to line up? When Muniankai heard Xia Ying's joke, the corners of her mouth suddenly dropped, and she said angrily, "The contract has been terminated a long time ago, and we have no relationship now. If there is a relationship, this guy's appearance is the reason. My eyes are gone." Xia Ying was amused by Muniankai. What did Hanzija do? Why do you look like you're going to eat him? Do I still need to list down this guy's bad deeds? Muniankai crossed her arms with anger on her face. Do you think the girl opposite him looks familiar? Xia Ying stared at the girl for a few times and said to Muniankai, "I don't know if she looks familiar or not, but she must be familiar with her brain, otherwise how could she fall in love with that scumbag Hanzija?" Muniankai then criticized, "There are so many outstanding and good-looking little brothers in the imperial capital, why are you attracted to Hanzija? Hanzija is indeed known as one of the top 3 campus heroes of Imperial University. Is there anyone who is really super handsome?" Just at this moment, the girl at the table behind Muniankai said this emotion. Muniankai just chuckled, what's the use of being handsome? His character is ruined. She, Muniankai, hated this kind of the most. Okay, just calm down and don't look at him. Xia Ying laughed softly. I'm going to buy something to eat. Muniankai stood up angrily, ready to turn her grief and anger into hunger and reward herself. Muniankai walked to the counter and looked at the menu to see what to order. I want honey and fruit to bloom. When Muniankai said this, a girl behind her also said this at the same time. Muniankai turned her head and looked at that person. By coincidence, it was that Murong Shue. Muniankai rolled her eyes angrily, and Murong Shue also glanced at Muniankai dissatisfied, and then said to the waiter, I want honey and fruit. Well, I'm very sorry, there is only one portion of honey fruit colorful left. The waiter was embarrassed and said, it will take half an hour for the new one to come out. Oh, that's just for me. Hearing these confident words, Muniankai was so angry that her head was about to smoke. What did this woman say? Give her? Why? Muniankai turned her head angrily, faced Murong Shue's arrogant look, and said coldly, didn't your kindergarten teacher teach you to queue up and know how to come first served? Murong Shue rolled her eyes at Muniankai disdainfully, senior sister, have you figured out the situation? I am the VIP of this store. Besides, you have always been in front and refused to order. When I ordered, I bumped into you. We ordered it at the same time, why should I let you? Murong Shue responded sharply, not afraid of Muniankai's sharp gaze. There is a reason why Murongshue is called Junior Muniankai. Except for the new and ignorant junior girl, how could other people not know her style and temper of Murongshue? If you dare to confront her, might your bones be itchy? I had suspected that there was something wrong with your brain when you were with Hanzija, but I didn't expect you to come over so quickly to verify my suspicion. It's great. Muniankai sneered in a sinister manner. Say it to me again. Murongshue was furious and raised her palms to hit Muniankai. However, Murangshue's slap did not fall on Muniankai, but was caught by a strong arm in mid-air. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 688. Chapter 688. She, my ex-girlfriend. Muniankai and Murongshue looked at Hanzija at the same time. Hanzija held Murangshue's wrist and pulled her hand off with a straight face. This was such a rude move that Murongshue was in pain. Covering his wrist, the place where Hanzija grabbed it was already red. It could be seen how hard Hanzija had just worked. At this time, the eyes of everyone in the store were attracted to them. As soon as the clerk saw that these two people were not easy to deal with, he silently began to serve the customers below. Zija, this woman just scolded me, and she scolded you too. Murongshue approached Hanzija and complained. What did she scold me for? Hanzija looked at Muniankai with a half-smile, with a light in his eyes that Muniankai couldn't see through. Muniankai didn't care about Hanzija's good-natured attitude and kept staring at Hanzija. Hold on, not giving in at all. She said there was something wrong with my brain when I was with you. Murangshue's face was still angry when she said this hateful woman, how could she say anything? She just came here to find trouble, and she just kept fighting with me. The honeys and fruits are coming in abundance. What she said was not wrong. Unexpectedly, Hanzija was uncharacteristically looking at Muniankai leisurely and said with a slight smile. Ah! Murongshue was stunned. Did she hear it correctly? Was Hanzija being scolded, or was he helping to applaud the scolding? Murongshue looked at Hanzija and Muniankai with suspicion on her face. It was obvious that these two people knew each other. So, what is the relationship between the two of them? Zija, do you know each other? Murongshue raised her head, looked at Hanzija, and asked. Yes, I know you. Hanzija still looked calm. Who is she? Murongshue glanced at Muniankai with disdain, and the look in her eyes almost made Muniankai come over and beat her up. Does this guy not know how to make normal expressions? Does your face get cramped when you make normal expressions? Why should I be so arrogant? She, my ex-girlfriend. Hanzija said playfully. As soon as Hanzija finished speaking, Murongshue immediately opened her eyes wide and stared at Muniankai, looking at her from top to bottom. This bad-tempered woman is actually Hanzija's ex-girlfriend. Is there any mistake? Oh, by the way, since she is an ex-girlfriend, no wonder she scolded Hanzija right from the beginning. The one who treated her so badly must have been obsessed with her. When Murongshue thought of this, she immediately assumed the posture of her current girlfriend, folded her hands, raised her head, glanced at Muniankai disdainfully, and said, since we are all ex-girlfriends, can't we have some virtue in our mouths? You don't want to see Zija, don't you? Muniankai's face darkened immediately after hearing this. What the hell, it's his ex-girlfriend. What does this woman mean? Do you think she is a resentful woman or something? Don't you want to see Hanzija? Hanzija doesn't have good qualifications to begin with. Hanzija, do you dare to tell me the truth, who would fall in love with you? Muniankai said angrily, if you keep talking nonsense, believe it or not, I will beat you up. At this time, the two girls who were talking about Murongshue and Hanzija were immediately attracted by Muniankai. Wow, this girl is even more powerful than Murongshue. It's so exciting. Is this girl really Hanzaja's ex-girlfriend? I think she is much prettier than Murong Shui. Ha ha ha, eat melon, eat melon. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 689. Chapter 689 looks like he's jealous. Xia Ying listened to the discussion of the two girls, then raised her head from her phone and looked at the counter. She was still wondering why Mu Niankai took so long to order something to eat. It turned out that she was quarreling with someone else. This Mu Niankai is really capable of stirring up trouble. Xia Ying had no choice but to go over to find out what was going on, and pulled Mu Niankai back by the way. I'm not talking nonsense. Although we have broken up, I still want to give you my status. Hanzaja acted carelessly from beginning to end, as if he was deliberately trying to annoy Mu Niankai. Mu Niankai's anger level had completely reached its peak. However, just as she was about to have an attack, Xia Ying grabbed her arm by the sudden arrival. Mu Niankai, stop making trouble, let's go. Xia Ying said to Mu Niankai. Mu Niankai turned around and looked at Xia Ying. No, I didn't make a fuss. They brought it on themselves. I'm just angry. Mu Niankai said angrily. Murong Shui's eyes lit up when she saw Xia Ying. Everyone said that Xia Ying was admitted to Imperial University, but she hadn't seen her yet. Today she actually saw Xia Ying on such an occasion. Zija, do you know Xia Ying too? Also an ex-girlfriend. As soon as Hanzaja finished speaking, Murong Shui was completely stunned. How many ex-girlfriends are there like this? Are there two in just this one store? And it seems that there are definitely more than these, but don't Xia Ying and Mu Niankai seem to be good friends? Is this okay? Hanzaja, if you keep talking nonsense, I will tear your mouth apart. Mu Niankai said angrily. Hanzaja smiled and said nothing, just stared at Mu Niankai calmly. Xia Ying dragged Mu Niankai away. Before leaving, Hanzaja still stared at the scene for a while. Hey, why are you staring at her? Murong Shui looked at her cheeks and said angrily, poking Hanzaja's arm, trying to make him look at her. Hanzaja's lips raised slightly. Don't you think she's particularly cute when she's angry? Murong Shui's face darkened. Hanzaja, how can you praise other women's cuteness in front of me? Hanzaja withdrew his gaze and glanced at Murong Shui. She is indeed very cute. Murong Shui's face turned gloomy and she looked outside the store, a fleeting and strange color flashing in her eyes. Hey, have you ever felt that Murong Shui and the girl who just quarreled with her look a bit alike? When you say it that way, it seems so. And both of them have such bad tempers. Ha ha ha, it seems that Hanzaja is a TikTok. Do you like this one specifically? After Mu Niankai and Xia Ying left, Mu Niankai scolded Hanzaja all the way, and Xia Ying's ears almost felt like cocoons. Hanzaja, the invincible scumbag in the universe, a playboy, an old pervert, knows how to spread rumors. One day, I will. What do you want to do? Xia Ying abruptly interrupted Mu Niankai's words. Mu Niankai was suddenly startled and paused. She didn't know how to answer the question. I will kill him with my own hands. Mu Niankai thought for a while, clenched her fists, and said indignantly. Xia Ying laughed lightly. I said, your behavior doesn't sound like you want to kill him, but more like you're jealous, right? Mu Niankai was stunned when she heard that. She looked into Xia Ying's smiling eyes and said angrily, who would be jealous of that scumbag? I don't have any brains. Thank you to the little cutie. Don't forget your original intention, 178.43, and blessing Y for your rewards. Please give me a monthly pass. There will be more updates later. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 690. Chapter 690 Jian Yins. Yet. Xia Ying raised her voice high, looked at Mu Niankai with suspicion, and then said, "Then what were you arguing with that woman over there just now?" "Because she competed with me for the fruit, that's all." Mu Niankai said with a straight face. Okay, whatever you say is what it is." Xia Ying was very perfunctory, and the malicious smile on her face showed that she was not convinced by Mu Niankai at all. Mu Niankai naturally noticed it, but she did not intend to continue the endless cycle with Xia Ying on this issue. Instead, she silently shut up and stopped talking about it along the way. After Xia Ying and Mu Niankai separated, they just returned to the dormitory when they received a call from the director team of The Great Doctor, saying that Xia Ying should come over for an audition over the weekend. Xia Ying was puzzled. Isn't the male lead not decided yet? It has been decided and it will be officially announced tonight. All right. Xia Ying didn't say anything more, but she couldn't figure out who would take Jun Cheniai's place under such great pressure from public opinion when something like this happened to Jun Cheniai and he couldn't participate in the show. Jun Cheniai's fans are comparable to cultists, the kind of top-notch die-hard fans who can dig out Jun Cheniai's slanderers for 18 generations and scold them if they disagree. Of course, there are also many idiot fans who support them without any reason. Jun Cheniai had an accident on the front foot, and the role he had planned for was snatched away by others. This person is bound to be bombarded by Jun Cheniai's fans. In the evening, the official Weibo of the movie version of The Great Doctor announced the actor who will play the leading role. He is a newcomer who has just debuted. His name is Jian Yins, and the picture is an extremely simple photo. The man was wearing a black shirt, with a pure white background behind him, and his face was like a perfect work carefully carved by God. From his eyebrows to his chin, he exuded breathtaking beauty and temptation. He is like an elf, with translucent white skin, silver hair, and rare purple eyes. Such a person is too beautiful and too fake. That face seems to only exist in anime, but seeing it in real life will only make people feel like they are in a dream. Xia Ying searched this so-called Jian Yins on Baidu. There is no information about him on the internet. He is a 24K pure newbie. There were just some drafts reporting on him. Xia Ying selected a few and clicked on them. Jian Yins is a foreigner and a mixed-race British-Italian. Due to some biological factors, he is the owner of a very rare purple irises. It's not that he wears contact lenses, but he really has purple eyes. After the official announcement, the discussion about Jian Yins on the internet has been overwhelming. Oh my god! Purple irises. It is said that there are only 600 pairs of eyes like this in the world. It's really breathtakingly beautiful. Although this Jian Yins is very handsome, I still want to say that if it's not Jun Xiao's version of Feng Zhuili, I won't watch it. Is this true or false? Picture of P? Why do I think this person looks so fake? Hong Kong Zhen, this is the first time I have seen a blue child who looks so much like an elf since I was a child. I have a crush on my little brother. Please give me an animated picture. I don't know if the static picture is from P. So handsome. No, I have to be reserved. I am Mr. Jun's chocolate, I can't change my mind. There will be no update in the early morning. I will update during the day tomorrow. Good night. Touch the babies who have finished the college entrance examination, you can relax. End of this chapter.